John Wick treats cars the same way he treats violence: deliberate, personal, and unforgiving. These machines aren't background props or flashy toys, they're emotional triggers, tactical tools, and reflections of who John is at each stage of his revenge. From lost innocence to controlled rage, every engine, badge, and bodyline tells part of the story. This breakdown explains how the first film's key cars shape Wick's journey. 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429. The first car we see in John Wick is the 1969 Ford Mustang Boss 429, though what John actually drives is a modified Mach 1 made to look like the rare Boss. Metallic charcoal paint covers its body, dual matte black rally stripes run across the hood, roof, and deck, and the interior has beautifully aged black appointments. The car immediately marks John as someone precise, skilled, and private. At a gas station, a stranger admires it, calling it a Boss 429.
Nice ride.
Mustang. Boss 429. See you 70.
69.
John corrects the year 1969, but lets the Boss label stand, a quiet nod to its mystique. This Mustang isn't just a car, it's part of the story. John's life has been quiet since his wife passed, and Daisy, the dog she left him, one of his last personal connections. The son of a Russian gangster, Iosef Tarasov, kills Daisy and steals the Mustang in one night, igniting the revenge story. The car's theft is more than property loss. It's a violation, a symbol of his remaining peace being destroyed. Iosef tries to sell it at Aurelio's garage, but the Mustang, like John, is something others can't truly control.
Is it here?
The incident pushes John into action against Iosef and his father, Vigo Tarasov, toppling the Tarasov crime family by the end. The Mustang's legend matches its in-film importance. Only 859 Boss 429S were built, made to homologate Ford's massive 429 cubic inch V8 for NASCAR in the late 1960s. It featured huge ports, nicknamed the shotgun engine, which no other Mustang could match. Street versions were limited to 375 horsepower, but minor modifications could safely push close to 500 horsepower. The engine was too big for a standard Mustang, so Ford commissioned Carcraft to widen and modify 428 Mach 1 bodies to fit it, creating a rare, aggressive, wide-bodied muscle car. John's Mustang, however, isn't an original Boss. It has a non-functional Mach 1 hood scoop, a rear spoiler unavailable on the 1969 or 1970 Boss, and an automatic transmission, while every Boss 429 came with a 4-speed manual. The steering wheel is from a 1968 Shelby GT 350 or GT 500, and under the hood likely sits a modern Coyote V8 for reliability. The production used 5 Mach 1s for filming because the real Boss 429s are rare and expensive, and the stunt work would destroy them. On screen, the car's presence is brief but striking. John burns rubber and drifts it on an airport runway, venting frustration and grief over losing his wife. He later loses it permanently, and though it drives the early plot, it never returns in the first movie. 5 Mustangs were used during production, and all were eventually destroyed in stunts, echoing the story of theft, loss, and John's unstoppable path of revenge. The car appears in scenes with Aurelio's gangsters, the Tarasovs, and in brief, powerful visuals that establish the quiet, precise, lethal world John inhabits, cementing the Mustang as both a character and a catalyst in the film. 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396. After John Wick loses his Mustang, he picks up a 1970 Chevrolet Chevelle SS 396 from Aurelio's garage. The car is a loaner, a temporary stand-in for his stolen Mustang, and immediately takes him home and then to the Continental Hotel. Its appearance is subtle but significant. It's a rare and desirable muscle car, showcasing John's taste in the kind of machinery he relies on. At first glance, the Chevelle seems black, with white over-the-top stripes. But on closer inspection, it's actually forest green with a black vinyl interior. The car sits on aftermarket Kragar-style wheels, and the shifter confirms it runs a turbo 353-speed automatic transmission. In the film, the Chevelle's story is one of convenience and continuity. John doesn't drive it extensively in the first movie, but it bridges the gap between losing his Mustang and escalating his revenge. Its presence allows him mobility and a platform to move through New York's underworld. Several aerial and establishing shots feature the Chevelle, including a memorable moment as John crosses a bridge into Manhattan, signaling the start of his violent rampage. It never faces high-speed chases or major stunts in this installment, but the car is still central to the narrative. Without it, John would lack a functional ride to navigate the city's streets after his Mustang was stolen. Technically, the Chevelle SS 396 is one of Chevrolet's finest muscle cars from 1970. While the LS 6454 is more widely celebrated for raw power, the 396 version is no slouch. Its big block 402 cubic inch V8 produces 350 horsepower and 415 pound-feet of torque, enough to accelerate from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 5.8 seconds. In the early 70s, this made it a strong performer on the street and at the drag strip. The 1970 model year was pivotal for GM because the corporate ban on large engines in intermediate cars had been lifted, allowing big block V8s and smaller bodies like the Chevelle. The result was a fast, aggressive car that stood out among other muscle cars and delivered significant torque for wheel spin and effortless street performance. In the first John Wick film, the Chevelle is used mainly as a utility vehicle, bridging the gap while John regroups. The car's design elements, forest green paint, black interior, and Craigar wheels, reflect a classic, understated muscle car aesthetic rather than flashy showmanship. Its automatic transmission emphasizes convenience over a traditional manual, suiting John's pragmatic approach to the vehicle. 3 different Chevelles were used during production, one for beauty shots, one as the main driver car, and one for stunts, ensuring continuity while protecting the cars from damage. 2011 Dodge Charger SXT. The 2011 Dodge Charger SXT is John Wick's third prominent car in the first film, a modern muscle sedan gifted to him by the New York branch of the Continental Hotel. Blacked out and debadged, it has a subtle, menacing presence. A quick look at the fender reveals a Hemi badge, signaling the 5.7-liter V8 engine producing 375 horsepower and 410 pound-feet of torque. Unlike Wick's previous cars, this is a contemporary vehicle, but it maintains the essence of American muscle. Rear-wheel drive, large displacement, and aggressive performance packaged in a 4-door sedan. The Charger's story in the film begins after Aurelio apologizes for the previous events with Iosef and the stolen Mustang. The hotel gives the Charger to John as a gift, providing him both mobility and firepower. In the climactic chase, John uses it not just as transportation, but as a weapon, crushing multiple henchmen while pursuing the villain. The car becomes an extension of John's lethal precision, blending speed, power, and strategic intent. Its 4 doors and modern amenities contrast with its raw, old-school muscle nature, making it suitable for a professional who needs both stealth and firepower. By the end of the sequence, the Charger ends up at the bottom of the harbor, destroyed alongside the antagonists, proving that this vehicle was built for action rather than preservation. Mechanically, the Charger is one of the few modern American sedans with true muscle car credentials. The 5.7-liter Hemi V8 is naturally aspirated, with rear-wheel drive allowing John to push the car aggressively through city streets. The base model could be equipped with all-wheel drive, but the RWD configuration suits the character's style, allowing precise handling and controlled drifts in high-speed pursuits. Its size and rugged build make it ideal for contact with obstacles or opponents, turning the car into a tool for both attack and defense. Its blacked-out exterior, spacious interior, and commanding stance make it a perfect modern counterpart to the Mustang and Chevelle while remaining uniquely suited to John's calculated approach. The Charger is also a cinematic nod to muscle car history. It shares lineage with earlier Chargers like the 1968 Dodge Charger RT, featured in films such as Bullet, where black Chargers became symbols of stealth, speed, and danger. The 2011 Charger bridges classic muscle heritage with contemporary performance and design, reflecting both American automotive evolution and John Wick's transition from retired assassin to fully re-engaged predator. In production, the Charger was driven harder than any of the other cars in the film. It endured high-speed chases, collisions, and stunt sequences, emphasizing its durability and raw power. The car sits among a collection of iconic vehicles in Aurelio's garage, including a 1968 Charger RT, a 2006 Ford GT40 Heritage Edition, and a 1963 MGB Roadster. This shows John's access to a garage of legendary machines. John Wick's cars are extensions of his skill, taste, and precision. The Mustang represents loss and quiet mastery. The Chevelle bridges gaps and offers raw muscle for the streets. And the Charger delivers modern power and lethal efficiency. Each vehicle moves the story forward, shapes John's actions, and reflects his evolution from grieving husband to unstoppable assassin. Which of John's cars best defines his character? Share your thoughts in the comments. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe and turn on notifications for more deep dives into iconic film vehicles.